Everyone who knows me knows that I love bad movies. And they're so essential because without a baseline to work off of, how are we supposed to differentiate the quality between, I don't know, The Shining and Croods 2? Well, folks, the truth is that bad movies make the world go round. And if you find yourself watching them as much as I do, you start to recognize a certain art to it. Because how funny would it be if in the middle of Marriage Story, someone forgot a line and they just didn't cut it out? See, to me, that is the beauty and depth of filmmaking that we as viewers rarely get to see. But guys, that being said, today I have found something that defies all laws of existence. Go ahead and take a look at this TikTok ad that I got just a few weeks ago.
This is Mr. Wogglebug. He wants to become a friend to you and your children. He's very lovable and wise, and I made a whole movie starring him.
Boom, there you go. I don't need to hear anymore. Purchase, purchase. Sylvie and the Wogglebug. What am I looking at? Now, let it be known, I did actually spend the $7 to purchase this movie, but I must ask myself, did I make a mistake? Also, I'm pretty sure that I was the last person to ever buy this film, because if you go and check the site now, it's just gone. However, if pain and mystery is any indication of what we're going to experience today, well, I think we're in for quite the delightful shit show. The film opens to some default title text and we're going in. Oh, never mind. So guys, when I say this movie is homemade, what I really mean is that it looks like the entire thing was done in Gary's mod, and this becomes very apparent when we fade into the house. Oh my fucking God! Prepare yourselves, folks, because this is what you're gonna be staring at for the rest of the video, and it gets worse. So what we have here is actually an orphanage, and this husband and wife are coming to adopt this girl, Sylvie. And if the grotesque animation wasn't enough for you, just listen to how these characters speak.
It's always a special day when one of our little ones is chosen, and Sylvie is a very special little girl.
We've waited a long time for this.
Now look, I could sit here and pick apart every single terrifying thing that I see, right? But you have to understand that this movie is an hour and a half long and we haven't even broken the first minute. As they converse, we get our first shot of Sylvie, and dude, she just looks awful. I mean, I don't know what disease this is, but it's definitely uncurable. We learn that Sylvie is a shy but clever girl, and honestly, that's probably for the best. Because the kids playing outside look like they're locked in an endless loop of not knowing how to exist. Look, this girl's jump roping into the wall. Hell! After hearing her sob story, the prospective mother is just like,
how sad.
And then we get a taste of Sophie's true power when she gets roasted by another orphan outside.
Hey Sylvie, what you got there? Your lunch?
When the shot changes to reveal the other orphan, we find out that somehow she looks even worse than Sylvie, but she's out of there. And then the prospective parents finally introduce themselves.
Did you draw that?
Yes, ma'am. It's a Papilionidae, more commonly known as the
swallowtail butterfly.
The swallowtail butterfly. You know, that delivery reminds me exactly of that Zoo Books announcer guy.
And the tiger poster.
Also, I couldn't put my finger on it until now because it's so uncanny, but I'm pretty sure the character model for this guy is based off of Ryan Gosling. Why? I do not know. Please don't make me answer that. Anyway, the parents ask Sylvie if she'll go home with them, and she just immediately runs away.
If you'd like to, of course.
I can't.
Wow, that was seamless. Now we're in a classroom with Mr. Frank. He looks like Joe Biden cosplaying as Bach. For some reason, he's a substitute teacher, and I can confirm that that has no significance to the plot whatsoever. But he gives the class this huge fucking magnifying glass to inspect things outside. And I feel like normally, even in bad movies, they would have the teacher be like, okay, class, go ahead and pass this around and just have fun exploring. But somehow the filmmaker managed to encapsulate the real-time dread of sitting in a classroom by having him lecture for a full minute and a half with no music and no shot changes.
Has a single lens that is curved on both sides and is thicker in the middle,
Shut
causing
up!
the light to bend.
Hey, sorry to stop us in our tracks. Anyone notice my Zaza sitting here the whole time? Just gonna move that. Outside, that mangled orphan makes the mistake of asking Sylvie what she's inspecting because Sylvie proceeds to show off one of her many horrifying talents.
What are you looking at? This bug woggling around.
Oh, she's looking. Okay. Whoa, full 90, full silence. Okay. What? But then her friend gets fed up and decides to retaliate by showing off a trick of her own. I mean, it's impossible to tell, but I'm pretty sure that her friend gets up and kills the bug. And that's another mind-boggling thing about this movie. There are frequent shots where 30 seconds of time are taken up by a character doing some activity. But the cutting in animation is so out of control that you cannot tell what's happening.
This is what I studied with my magnifying glass.
Oh my fucking God. So yeah, that bug from outside that I'm pretty sure is just just mush now, was a Wogglebug, and Sylvie takes it to the teacher to show him, but he's like,
Did anybody give you any trouble?
what trouble would there have been? You're not running special ops missions. You're talking to a most likely diseased child. Also, she just can't see you. Dr. Frank then does something very illegal and gives special gifts to his underage student. The special gift is a book and key that will unlock her hopes and dreams, so that is just skin crawling. Later that night at home, Sylvie gets cooked again by that orphan whose health is quickly deteriorating.
Mr. and Mrs. Martin just left. Seems like they didn't like you after all.
Oh my god! Christ, these kids are in shambles! It looks like Sylvie got roasted so hard that her eyelids burned off.
They thought you were weird not wanting to be adopted. Maybe they will adopt me.
No.
Okay. Sylvie goes upstairs and attempts to draw in her new notebook, but I guess the animator decided to try animate with your eyes closed challenge. But then Sylvie channels all of her sickness into one mighty burst and we get transported to a forest. Look at the detail.
I don't know where I am.
Ah, what the fuck is that? Well, this is the Wogglebug, and I don't know how I expected him to talk, but it definitely wasn't this.
You're a human-sized bug.
And you're a human-sized human.
No. Now the film is upgraded to character emotes, and we learn that his name is Mr. H.M. Wogglebug T.E. But before I go into that, I need you to listen to how Sylvie pronounces her full name.
I'm Sylvie Harnett.
Because seconds later, Mr. Wogglebug pronounces it like
To
this.
help a friend in need, Sylvia Hanoi.
And guys, I need you to remember this because it's gonna get fucking crazy, okay? Sylvie tells Mr. Wogglebug that she's lost and he says he can help her get home, but in the meantime, he's gonna take her to the castle of the king and queen. And at the very least, okay, like we do have some storyline here, but the scenes are so hard to pay attention to. All the audio levels are different, there's tons of dead air, and there is no variety in the shots other than an occasional emote that has nothing to do with what the character is saying.
I am just as wise as any man.
The king and queen are looking for a new royal counselor, and Mr. Wogglebug wants the job. But Sylvie doesn't care. We still don't know what HM and TE mean.
HM stands for highly magnified.
Oh. What does TE mean?
Kind of you to ask. That stands for thoroughly educated.
Okay, so his name is Mr. Highly Magnified Wogglebug, thoroughly educated. Not only does that not roll off the tongue at all, in fact, it feels like sandpaper, but something about reading and hearing that name is like turning my brain to soup. I cannot think. Okay, I'm pretty sure this descriptor is unwarranted given what we've seen so far, but now something really crazy happened. Mr. Wogglebug proceeds to tell Sylvie his life story, and I really don't know how to put this into words, so just...
You see, I grew up in a schoolhouse, so to speak. I was once a tiny...
Okay, I'm just gonna try my best here. I don't know what I'm looking at, and I don't want to, but it would now seem that Mr. Wogglebug is telling his life story through a musical number, except the music doesn't line up, the vocals don't line up, you know, everything is just playing. Whoa, stop. I don't like that.
My
Oh,
dear
the song, it's over.
children.
Okay, so this sequence is just an absolute mess. I can't go into too much detail or I'm gonna... But here's his life story in a nutshell, okay? He was found by the professor, put under a microscope, projected onto a screen, and then this happens. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. What is happening, man? What the fuck? Why was she on the desk? When was there any indication that anyone in the class was scared other than me? Also, when it cuts to outside, the window is just closed. You know, I shouldn't even be pointing that out. Okay, but I'm not even kidding. There's actual lore to this. It turns out the Wogglebug is actually a character from the Land of Oz, like in Wizard of Oz, the movie about the Wizard of Oz. So I guess this movie is a spin-off, but I'm not even kidding. What just happened in the movie is word for word from Wogglebug lore. The bug was proud of his new size. He bowed to the students, and one unnamed little girl standing on the windowsill was startled and fell backward out the window. Okay, this filmmaker might be a genius then. I mean, this is like the Oz universe version of Book of Boba Fett. But anyway, back to the backstory. The professor gave him some clothes and sent him off to the palace, and that's where he met Sylvie. Okay, now we're caught up. Sylvie tells Mr. Wogglebug about that key that she got from the substitute teacher, and then we get another one of these moments.
May I see the key? This is
They then proceed to have 5 more minutes of grueling conversation, and it is mind-numbing. That's the other thing about this movie. Because of the incompetence of the animator, pretty much nothing happens, so it actually makes the movie really boring. The only time activity really happens is when they want the characters to do something goofy or add in another musical number. They actually do this after those 5 minutes, and guys, I'm not even kidding, they just apply random emotes to him while he sings, and it looks bizarre.
I am the one and only H.M. Wogglebug T.E., the world-wise Wogglebug.
He goes on in this ramble of a song to say, though I'm a big bug, I still need a big hug. And then it gets very fucking gross.
I love that song. I haven't had one hug since I left the tailor's house.
No.
I find giving hugs are my favorite kind of
Yeah, no, I don't think
manners,
this is okay. Then they pull up to the castle of Genoma, which looks like a Sims mansion surrounded by a brick wall. Sylvie demonically slides across the ground, and then for a second, and literally just this one moment, they completely change her voice actor.
Mr. Wogglebug, are there other walking, talking bugs like yourself in Genoma?
Nope.
All right then. They finally talk to the king and queen, but for some reason the king's voice is super compressed and intense.
This key bears the symbol of the 7 living values of intelligence.
I am aware.
Apparently Sylvie's key is super powerful, but they put a pin in that for later because there's a more pressing matter. Genoma is in a crisis. Mr. Wogglebug is trying to kiss up and prove himself the entire time, but one of my problems with this character trait is that it makes him say so much unnecessary bullshit like every sentence.
We'll come up with a plan, A, B, C. However many letters it takes.
Shut the fuck up, bro! I don't care! Also, I think it's worth mentioning because you're not actually gonna get to see the film in its full length, but you can trust me when I say that every sentence Mr. Wogglebug says ends with him kissing his own ass. Every single situation, every single conversation, he's just like, I am an intellectual.
Welcome to the castle of Genoma, home of King Ethano and future home of the highly magnified and thoroughly educated...
Anyway, Genoma is under attack by Antibo, the evil gnome.
He is a dark wizard and a terrible danger to all of Genoma.
And look, I don't know how they're gonna animate him, but based on that delivery, I am not excited. Sylvie and Mr. Wogglebug go to meet up with the other candidates for the Royal Council, and they are not looking good. But here's who we got. We got Dr. Hulan. He's an owl thing, and he sounds like this.
How do you do?
And then we have Lord Sprague, Goat Man. He sounds like this.
I am Lord Sprague.
And those names are pretty fucking wild, right? Yeah, but then we just got fucking Sir Reynolds. He's a bird of some kind, but what's most important to know is that the animators could not control him.
You believe you are wiser than any of us?
Mr. Wogglebug introduces Sylvie to them, once again with a different pronunciation.
This is Sylvie Hanoi.
And then they go over and look at this painting of a tree called the Living Tree that's supposedly the source of all power and magic in Genoma. Sylvie notices a keyhole in the tree, and they conclude that this is what's gonna help Sylvie get home, so yeah! Look how excited she is. Look how excited she is. What happens next is brutal. Sylvie and Mr. Wogglebug walk back into the room and proceed to listen to the court candidate shit-talk them for a full minute.
If he knows what is good for him, he would scurry back beneath the stone he emerged from. Stone? I believe you mean boulder!
Mr. Wogglebug gets super sad and tries to kill himself with a handkerchief, and Sylvie does nothing about it, so they go back to the king and queen to let them know that they will be going to defeat Antibo. They continue to pronounce his name like that throughout the film, and it sounds like Antifa, so, Sylvie and Mr. Wogglebug are taking down Antifa! As they leave, Mr. Wogglebug tells Sylvie about the 7 living values, and it's like, once again, come on, dude, come on! This film does not have the range to explore 7 values of life. I mean, just cut it to 3. I ain't watching that shit.
Honesty, kindness, courtesy, loyalty, courage, perseverance, and humility.
Cool. Finally, alone in the wild, they come to a bridge where Mr. Wogglebug asks a highly threatening question.
You are afraid you will fall off the bridge while crossing it?
Well, I wasn't before. Mr. Wogglebug tells her not to be afraid and to take his hand and listen. So I wonder what that means. What? I mean, how? This one, I can't even hear. The scale is off, the location is liminal, and honestly, I can't even really see what's going on. But things get crazier because a few seconds later, we get a close-up where they are absolutely breaking it down for no reason. Okay, let's just take a break and rest our minds for a moment, you know? Okay, just breathe. Okay, well now we're in the middle of fucking nowhere. The camera work in this scene, I mean, it's something out of a shitty Minecraft Bandicam recording, and honestly, I'm kind of with it. Because at this point, I feel like I've completely abandoned the idea of this actually being a movie. You know, now I'm getting more of a watch full movies free, no survey, no download vibe. That's a deep cut joke right there, okay? Okay, all right. Are we feeling it, ladies?
And you know why all these trees are such great friends? They're all branching out.
Oh, Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up, man. God.
It's amazing.
Oh! Okay, first things first, these trees look like they have dicks. I mean, full rocking out with the cock out. It's rather impressive. And I don't know if the filmmaker decided it would be funny to put this joke in, but I'm pretty sure the roots are supposed to represent a dick and balls. But I probably wouldn't think that if the tree didn't say this.
Please move. You are standing on my left root.
He's talking about his left nut.
They whisper words of wisdom that the beings they...
Hey, yeah, man, sorry to cut you off, but you might want to check on your boys here. The main tree looks like he's chilling, but the other two look to be in utter shock. In fact, all of them have the 1,000-yard stare. Anyway, they all hate Antibo because he wants to destroy the living tree, that tree that's gonna bring Sylvie home. But because they're fucking trees and they can't move, they suggest that they get the help of the magical fairy Alicia, and also the trees have arms. How didn't I notice that? This is what they sound like, by the way.
Good luck, Mr. Wogglebug and Sylvie.
When they leave the trees, they stumble upon another one of those butterflies from the beginning.
The swallowtail butterfly.
And then we finally meet our villain.
Well, they are the link between the earth and the air, between nature and humanity, and...
Oh my god. If there was any consistency in design with this movie, it has officially been broken. I mean, truly, this just looks like a model pulled straight from a video game that I've never heard of.
But why would you want to do that?
Because this place has gone on, as it always has, for far too long.
That's it? So you're telling me his entire motivation for literal genocide is just the fact that the forest is business as usual? Hey, I like this guy, beautiful mind! He basically goes on to say that he also just hates everything, so I guess that's better justification, but like, who cares?
Well, he wouldn't want to cross me, or I might have to do something like this.
So yeah, the butterfly gets seasoned, but then Antibo gets shot in the back. Holy shit, it's up! What is it?
This is the dominion of the elves. You cannot pass through here.
God, okay, bye? You guys have to understand, I'm trying my very hardest to focus on the storyline here, but the flow of this film is just brutal. I'm gonna try to consolidate my thoughts moving forward because this video could be an hour, but what's the point? So yeah, they end up following the elf to find him doing more emotes with this bed of flowers.
I am Mr. H.M. Wogglebug, T.E.
Every fucking time! We learned that the elf's name is Christoph, or Christoph, I don't know, what does it sound like to you?
My name's Christoph.
I'm just gonna go ahead and call him Chris.
Nice shot!
The next 2 minutes involve the same conversation going in circles. Chris can't get the flowers to grow because he's not strong enough, but he thinks that Sylvie and Mr. Wogglebug may possess the power.
In my world, we believe that music helps plants to grow. Sing to them!
So he sings once again, this time for a full 2 minutes. Finally, though, they managed to sync up the singing with the track. I'm playing a little bit right now below my voice so you don't die. But guys, I'm starting to get really upset here. This movie is awful, right? But it's getting awful in an unenjoyable way. It's too long. If the scenes didn't take 20 minutes a piece to get through, this movie could be done in like a solid 45. But no, we're at the 45-minute mark, and we're only halfway through. Antibo shows up after the song and turns all the flowers into swamp grass, and instead of doing something about it, they all just lecture him on nature.
That's so unnatural.
You must leave nature alone, allowed to grow and flourish, as it has always done.
But Chris must have really been holding in that dog, okay? Because as soon as Antibo vanishes, he throws some nasty punches.
And take that, and another thing.
Whoa, careful there, bud. They then meet up with the whole elf council, and everyone looks the same. But long conversation, guys, long one. Same issue as before. They don't think they're strong enough, and they need to recruit a group of people to help them. But when that fairy Alicia comes back into conversation, we get a big, juicy reveal.
We should consult with the fairy queen mother.
You do not need to consult with Alicia.
Ah, not juicy. It's gone, guys. It's just gone. The concept was out the window so long ago. I mean, it's already just gotten run over in the street. Well, here's Alicia. Her design is fucked, and her mic is bad.
And what is it that you hoped I could assist you with, Christoph?
Now, this is probably the worst audio that we've heard so far, but what's so funny about this is that the actress delivers the lines like she's reading scriptures in church.
A task lies before you. The defeat of the terrible gnome. You must find the strength within if you are ever to return home.
And it turns out that Alicia can't defeat Antibo either, which, I mean, honestly, guys, is it really that hard? All he's done so far is show up, do minor damage, and then disappear in a single frame. And you know, Mr. Wogglebug is fucking yoked. I don't understand why the lights are still on.
Oh, sweet children, the path before you is clear. Your destinies are entwined.
What is going on here, man? It's blah, blah, blah. Find the power within yourself, okay? It's okay, we're good. We get the vibe. But I have to point it out, guys, we got another name pronunciation.
I have faith you will not, Sylvie Harnois.
Harnois? Oh, man, that one sounds so lavish, so fresh. Alicia disappears, and I guess she said something really harsh to Sylvie because she just starts crying. And it's actually kind of sad because for a moment, just a moment, it genuinely sounds like a very scared child.
Scared.
Seconds later, though, she goes in guns blazing and roasts the shit out of Antibo.
There's no way I can defeat that nasty, hideous, ugly, mean old gnome.
Okay, so Sylvie is sad, Chris is sad, and Mr. Wogglebug is just obsessed with himself. But because this movie makes no sense, we then cut to everyone being happy and doing the exact same walking cycle. Sylvie is starting to, you know, I find it funny that I'm using these clips as filler because with a regular movie, like the shots would give you some context as to what's going on, but this one, it's just gonna look like nonsense. Yeah, so Sylvie is starting to regret her decision of not saying yes to the prospective parents, and this launches us into a pretty much 3-minute conversation about self-worth and dignity with no cuts. And at first they have pretty decent and thoughtful things to say about each other, but when they finally run out of game map, they just start fucking rambling, dude. It's awful.
It's just that I've watched a lot of cartoons with bad guys like him in them.
What exactly are cartoons?
Please! Okay, now we're at a cave to meet the fairies, and honestly, dude, what is the point of any of these scenes? The arc of this scene is basically racism. I think at one point the leader fairy, Theodora, calls Chris a pointy-eared trickster, and in the context of this universe, it just feels like a slur.
Are you certain you can trust that pointy-eared trickster?
But yeah, they kind of have a mini race war, and Mr. Wogglebug keeps sneezing because he's allergic to the fairy dust. And when they ask her for help, it looks like the animator just took the opportunity to click a bunch of random options and see what happens for her response.
No.
She basically tells him to get the fuck out, but as soon as they leave, she comes running out with them and she's like, oh, never mind.
You pixies may have great powers of your own, but at least us elves have great powers no one is allergic to.
Okay, I skipped ahead a little bit. Now they're preparing to round up a big team to help defeat Antibo, and we get launched into, and I hesitate to call it this, a montage. And the only reason I say that is because never before have I seen a cut into a montage quite like this.
We'll recruit every critter creature and character we meet along the way.
Oh, okay. All right, so the people they meet are just, I mean, despicable. It's really just a bunch of Fortnite skins. They meet these elementals, I guess. A water one, a lava guy, another rock thing, and an ice guy. Honestly, these guys look strong as shit. I feel like one of them could just solo and you could call it a day. Chris meets these fish. Really not sure how that's gonna be helpful, but keep up the good work. Sylvie fucks off and just has tea with one of those trees from the beginning. Or was it the beginning? Like, is that really fair to say at this point? And Mr. Wogglebug also manages to squeeze in some time to smoke a blunt with this gnome, which I think it's fucking great. Okay, the next scene is probably the dumbest thing that happens in this entire movie. They go to this ocean bank and this mermaid rises out of the water like as slowly as possible. But what happens next, I really can't describe, so I just have to show you.
My heart? What do you... The key?
And look at that, she's just gone, she's out. Finally, they pull up to this really dark forest where Antibo resides. In there, they run into these evil trees, and I kid you not, the trees belittle the characters so much that they lose all motivation to move forward with their journey.
She will always be a trickster. The pixie will make you look like a fool elf. You, Sylvie Harnois, are a very bad girl. A disappointment.
But as the brave heroine she is, Sylvie delivers a powerful monologue which lifts everyone's spirits back up.
So what if we make a mistake? It doesn't mean we are failures. Everyone makes some mistakes.
Who fucking cares? And with a newfound determination, they all head off to fight Antibo. Here's how this fight sort of goes down. Antibo comes hot out the gate with his evil plans, and it just leaves Sylvie absolutely flabbergasted.
With the living tree corrupted, I can spread my power over all Genoma.
Antibo then knocks each person over individually with magic that we just don't see, and then Sylvie comes up with the idea to offer her special book in return for her friends' lives.
Let me have it, and I will be more powerful than even my master.
No, take your time. I don't even know exactly what happens next, but I guess Sylvie takes a page out of her book, puts it on the tree, and uses her imagination to summon everyone to the battlefield. Then Antibo freezes Sylvie for like a solid minute before they all inevitably save her with the power of love. Is anyone feeling like this film is just monotonous? No. Look at this, guys. He's getting covered in nuts. Sylvie uses the power of the tree to restore everything back to normal, and then it rises out of the ground, becomes a terrifying monster, and just fucking stands there. Then out of nowhere, Mr. Frank shows up and reveals that he transported Sylvie here, so I think I was actually wrong about the special ops thing, okay? This was treacherous. And guys, I'm reading directly off the script now. As I write this, I am thoroughly done with the movie, as this is my second time viewing the film. I'm gonna wrap it up now. Okay, so Mr. Wogglebug gets to be on the council, which is great, but I'm not sure if any of it is very deserved, considering the fact that he did nothing. He did nothing in the film! And after Sylvie says her goodbyes, she wakes up in her bed because it was all a dream. I'm okay with this. She manages to get downstairs right before the parents leave, says yes, and then, well, folks, we made it through. I don't know why I picked this. I really, really don't. But I had a lot of fun writing it. I mean, this is the type of shit that you really can't make up. And as far as I'm concerned, I think I'm like the only person who has ever found and reviewed this movie, you know, in a quality way. But yeah, that was, I mean, it was horrifying. I'm gonna like burp or throw up or something. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and comment and subscribe and interact and stuff. Please save me from Sylvie and the Wogglebug. I really don't know what else to say about this film. You know, I'm kind of just dead in space. Looking at myself right now, I'm looking a little jaundiced. But anyway, that's all I have for you this time. But until next time, if you want to watch this film in its entirety, you can find it on YouTube. Full disclosure, the DVD never showed up. I think I got scammed, and I might have been the last person who attempted to buy it.